It's midnight and you're watching Nightline with me, Sabrina Zainal. The top stories. Datuk Sri Anwar still keeping mum on cabinet reshuffle. And Malaysia's economy remains resilient, says BNM governor. Good morning. We begin with this story. On Tuesday, the nation was abuzz with a cabinet reshuffle supposedly to be announced by Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim after his cabinet meeting on Wednesday. The media approached him after an event on Tuesday evening to seek confirmation, and his reply was not yet.
Belum. Tadi saya menghadap tuanku untuk bincang kabinet besok. Tak ada kaitan lagi dengan perubahan menteri. Besok saya lepas kabinet saya ke Sabah, saya ke Abu Dhabi.
The domestic trade and cost of living portfolio in the cabinet needs to be filled following the demise of Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub in July. There was also talk that there might be other changes to the cabinet as well. On another matter, Datuk Sri Anwar said great news is looming from the United Arab Emirates, UAE, with regards to the kingdom's effort on making Malaysia an investment hub. He attributed the decision made by the UAE to transparent policies practiced by the government.
In the next few days, you will hear, inshallah, very great news from UAE in terms of their decision to focus on Malaysia and make Malaysia as the hub for major Arab investment in the region. Now, this is precisely so because of clarity of policy.
He said this in his closing remarks at the Khazanah Mega Trends Forum 2023 in Kuala Lumpur. The Prime Minister will be on a 2-day working visit to the UAE from October 5th to the 6th. He also underscored the problem that the country needs to grapple with, which is the ease of doing business. Anwar said Malaysia had been struggling to ensure that bureaucratic encumbrances must end. In the meantime, Anwar said the government is looking to develop a mechanism to ensure that medicines are priced more competitively. He said the move will lead to transparent medicine pricing, enabling the public to make more informed decisions on the matter. In a statement after chairing the National Action Council on the Cost of Living NACOL meeting on Monday, Anwar said the price display mechanism for medicine sales will be further studied by the relevant ministry before it is finalized. Last year, the Health Ministry said it was looking into developing a price transparency mechanism that would require pharmaceutical companies to reveal the selling price of crucial medicines, especially those used to treat cancer. On another matter, Anwar said the meeting also received clarification from Bank Negara Malaysia that major banks and e-wallet service providers accepting payments via Do It Now QR would continue to waive transaction fees for micro and small businesses. In addition, he said the unity government is committed to continue with intervention programs such as Payung Rahmah Initiative and Agro Madani sales, even though the rate of inflation in the country has eased to 2.0%, which is the lowest in almost 2 years. He added the initiative will continue with the cooperation of state governments, which will benefit the people, in line with the government's continuous effort to combat issues relating to the rising cost of living. The country's economy remains resilient and will continue to be supportive moving into 2024, anchored by domestic activities. Bank Negara Governor Dato' Abdul Rashid Ghaffur said the labour market conditions, particularly employment and wages, have continued to improve, supporting households' ability to spend.
Investment by both the private and public sector remains forthcoming. These factors will continue to support the Malaysian economy in 2024. In addition, the economy will also benefit from a gradual recovery in the tech cycle and rebound in external demand.
He added Malaysia fortunately does not face a severe inflation challenge such as in other economies, and core inflation has continued to ease to 2.5% in August this year. The central bank expects inflation to continue to trend lower in line with slowing momentum of price increases. However, Bank Negara will continue to monitor potential risks to its outlook, arising mainly from changes to domestic policy on fuel subsidies. In other news, Malaysia is maintaining its 2023 gross domestic product GDP growth forecast of 4 to 5%. First Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Maslan said the Finance Ministry has not made any changes with regard to the economic growth projection for this year. According to the World Bank, Malaysia's economic growth is expected to moderate to 3.9% in 2023 from an earlier projection of 4.3% in April of this year.
Itu kajian mereka. Kita menghargai kerana mereka ada office di sini di Kuala Lumpur. Kita menghormati pandangan mereka, tetapi kami masih lagi mengekalkan 4 ke 5% lah. Belum ada perubahan jangkaan dari segi growth, economic growth, GDP growth pada tahun ini.
Ahmad spoke to the media after launching the Malaysia-China Entrepreneur Macro Health Forum 2023 in Kuala Lumpur. The World Bank also noted that the outlook for 2024 remains positive, and that's with a forecast growth rate of 4.3% attributed to the recovery in tourism, improved global economic conditions, and the impact of base effects. While external issues would be beyond the country's control, clear governance, better confidence from domestic consumers and businesses, and improving engagement with foreign investors and the local business community can help steer the country forward, anchored by firm domestic demand.
While the external economy has been quite wobbly of late, I think the Malaysian economy, in respect to domestic demand, I think is still very much resilient. If you look at the monetary policy, the Bank Negara has actually normalized the overnight policy rates by 125 basis points. That essentially would give a better policy space for Bank Negara to react or to respond to the possible shocks in the future. That's one. The other would be the fiscal policy. If you look at the performance in the past 8 months, the revenue growth has been growing at a rate of 16.2% to 201.4 billion ringgit. Then that accounts about 69.1% of the total target for the year. And similarly, the total expenditure for the government has actually increased by 10.4% to 248 billion, which accounts about 64.5% of the total expenditure allocated for the year. And as a result, the deficits for the first 8 months currently stood at 47.2 billion, which accounts for 50.3% of the total target for the year. So what it means is that the federal government's finances is quite resilient, and this would allow the government of the day to spend more, especially to promote the domestic demand.
This week on Money Matters, the National Industrial Master Plan. What's the growth potential for SMEs? Towards Malaysia's industrial transformation, what strategies can SMEs adopt? The role of partnerships, collaborations, and networking. Join us with Chin Chi Siong of the SME Association of Malaysia this Saturday 5 p.m. on TV3 and live HD stream on Tonton.
Cloud seeding will be carried out in areas where the air pollutant index API readings hover above 150 in the unhealthy air quality range for over 24 hours. Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Nik Ahmad said the ministry has activated the National Haze Action Plan, which lists the measures to be taken by the relevant agencies in managing the haze.
Bukan any condition kita boleh buat OPA ni. Cloud seeding hanya boleh dibuat dengan keadaan-keadaan tertentu dan kita akan buat apabila keadaan dia sesuai dan IPU melebihi 150 bagi tempoh melebihi 24 jam. Jadi itu yang kita akan pantau dan kita akan update lah secara berterusan.
As of 10 p.m. on Monday, only 2 areas recorded unhealthy API readings, namely Cheras, Kuala Lumpur and Nilai Negeri Sembilan, while the air quality in most areas nationwide were in the moderate range. Meanwhile, schools will immediately switch to the home-based teaching and learning method, PDPR, should there be any closure due to the haze. Education Minister Fadlina Sidek said her ministry already has prior experience with implementing remote learning, and it should not be an issue if schools were to close when the API in the respective area reaches 200. She added, so far, for areas that have reached an API of more than 100, the ministry has immediately stopped all outdoor activities and will continuously monitor the situation for other areas. Fadlina also reiterated her call for school authorities to observe all safety guidelines related to weather and haze. More than 500,000 ringgit in public donations made to the Media Prima Palestinian Humanitarian Fund have benefited 12,616 individuals from 2,475 families in Gaza, Palestine, in the form of basic necessities, clothes and meals during the Ramadan and Shawwal celebrations. The contributions were raised during the month-long Ramadan Bersama campaign in April under the collaboration of Media Prima Berhad MPB and Aman Palestine Berhad. Media Prima Group Corporate Communications Department General Manager Azlan Abdul Aziz, on behalf of the company, conveyed the utmost gratitude to Malaysians who had contributed to the fund. He added that substantial funding is required to ensure the people in the conflict-torn region receive food aid and essential necessities, particularly medical care. He said this after the handing over of the report on the contribution of the humanitarian fund by Aman Palestine Berhad Chief Executive Officer Awang Sufyan Awang Piot to Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Sri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junid at New Straits Times Press NSTP's head office in Balai Berita Bangsar, Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The NGO also hopes its collaboration with Media Prima will continue in the future for the good of the Palestinians. Walking is one of the most basic forms of exercise, and it's free too. Yet most Malaysians do not seem to be getting enough steps in on a daily basis. Can more be done to encourage Malaysians to walk more? FMT's Jason Desmond and Amira Huda report.
10,000. That's the number of steps health experts suggest people take on a daily basis to reduce the risk of heart disease and strokes, among others. But do you know how many steps the average Malaysian takes per day? According to one 2017 study by Stanford University, Malaysians only walk an average of 3,963 steps a day. To some extent, it's understandable. Who wouldn't prefer an air-conditioned car ride to a walk, especially with our hot and humid weather? But there is another reason why we don't get enough steps in. Malaysia is simply not walkable enough. Walkways with cracked surfaces, abrupt dead ends, and treacherous pavements are the norm. Can we do better?
We design our cities all this while for cars. Therefore, our pathways for pedestrians, for example, it's always been a last-minute design, or it was not designed properly as part of the design component when it comes to city planning.
And it goes beyond city planning. The details matter too, from design features to safety considerations.
I think the design features of walkway should be improved. We need wide paths, we need the pathway with shades, proper lighting, bench, sitting areas, signage, to the extent of the design of the curbside that will allow these disabled people to use it.
One Agil also emphasized the importance of safety measures to prevent cars from speeding at pedestrian crossings and the need for stricter enforcement of walkway regulations. So better planning can help. But what about our sunny Malaysian weather? Bayan Baru MP Simza Zin suggests learning from our southern neighbour.
In the context of Malaysia, we are in a tropical country. So first, we need to have shady trees. We need to plant more trees to make the area conducive to walk. So I can see that actually Singapore is doing a great job in that sense. They really plant a lot of trees along their walkways, even their streets. So people then you cool down the weather. it cool down the weather, and people are willing to walk.
Making our cities more walkable won't just benefit our hearts. Jamie Parsons, the principal advisor of urban design at the city of Hobart, says it will also help reduce traffic congestion.
In a lot of cities, what has ended up happening is that if you increase walkability, let's say, people that walk to work from maybe 2%, you increase it to something quite low, like 5 or 7%, you can actually have an enormous reduction in private vehicle, trips. Even a small reduction in private vehicle trips decreases a lot of congestion.
Jason Desmond and Amira Huda, FMT for Nightline.
Ipoh is perfect for a short getaway with its alluring history, heritage, and of course, a wide variety of delicious food. In conjunction with Visit Perak 2024, there are plans to bring more direct flights from neighboring countries into the Silver State. Sounds like a good plan, but will it happen? FMT's Danish Rajareza finds out.
Steamed chicken rice, tau fu fa, and white coffee. The culinary delights of this charming town are many. Yet beyond its food, Ipoh boasts a rich tapestry of culture, arts, and nature. It's these captivating attractions that continually draw many, especially from the Klang Valley, back to this northwestern town. Accessibility, especially for local tourists, is also a big plus. You can either drive or take a relaxing train ride from Kuala Lumpur and be in Ipoh in around 2 hours. Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Sarani Mohamad, however, is looking to draw tourists from beyond the Klang Valley, especially with Visit Perak Year 2024 just around the corner. Efforts are underway to get several airlines to increase the number of direct flights from ASEAN nations to Ipoh Sultan Azlan Shah Airport. The end goal? To contribute to efforts to draw 350,000 international visitors and their valuable tourist dollars to Perak.
This basically has the effect of opening up new markets to Ipoh that traditionally may not even think of Ipoh as part of the itinerary when flying into Malaysia.
But Wang believes there are bigger priorities, including promoting Ipoh as a prime tourist destination.
You're promoting new destination, right? So demand can be generated, but it must go hand in hand with promotion, all right? Both into Ipoh and out of Ipoh. That will definitely help create the initial demand, and it can grow from there.
There's also the issue of ensuring accommodations and facilities are up to par.
I think the infrastructure in terms of accommodation especially can be better. But that's also because it has to grow in parallel with the demand. So once demand increases, then there will be more development of hotels and accommodation to meet that demand.
In that respect, Perak is one step ahead. Earlier this month, Sarani said the state government has allocated 7 million ringgit to help tourism sector entrepreneurs upgrade and improve facilities. Competition for flights may be stiff, but Perak has a lot to leverage to draw in the crowds. The state's efforts to increase accessibility and improve tourism infrastructure can only help make things better. Danish Rajareza, FMT for Nightline.
At least 2 killed in shooting at Bangkok's Siam Paragon Mall. News from the foreign front when we return. foreign front, Thai police have arrested a 14-year-old boy who went on a shooting rampage inside Siam Paragon shopping mall, killing 2 people and injuring 5 others on Tuesday afternoon. According to authorities, the incident took place at around 4:20 p.m. local time, with more than 10 rounds of gunshots fired. The suspect was reportedly brought to the Pathumwan police station for questioning, but he was in a confused state, saying he had heard voices telling him to shoot people. National Police Chief Police General Torsak Sukvimol said the boy had received treatment in the past for mental health issues at Rajaviti Hospital, adding that he did not want to discuss further details as the suspect was a minor. Early reports had put the death toll at 3, but authorities confirmed that only 2 people were killed in the incident. The first victim was a 34-year-old Chinese woman who died on the ground floor of the shopping center, while the other was a woman from Myanmar who succumbed to her injuries at Police General Hospital. A bushfire in Australia's Victoria State more than trebled overnight, forcing authorities to issue emergency warnings in parts of New South Wales. According to state fire authorities, who had deployed some 650 firefighters, around 17,000 hectares were ablaze on Tuesday in the eastern part of Victoria State's Gippsland region. Hot and dry conditions also led New South Wales authorities on Tuesday to ban open fires across large swaths of the state. The conditions, however, are expected to change rapidly in Victoria on Wednesday, with heavy rains expected to help douse fires but potentially trigger flash flooding. At the moment, there were 82 fires burning across the state, with 16 not contained on Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, Taiwan on Tuesday issued a weather alert as Typhoon Koinu is approaching and may make landfall later this week, bringing gales and downpours to the southeastern parts of the island. According to the Weather Bureau, Koinu was moving northwest with sustained winds of 162 kilometers per hour near its center. Forecasters expected it to bring strong winds and downpours to southern and eastern parts of Taiwan early Wednesday and potentially make landfall in the southeastern part of the island on Thursday. Chinese weather authorities also said that Koinu may make landfall somewhere along Taiwan's southern coast or past the island without making landfall and move westward with reduced intensity. Malaysian contingent edges closer to medal target. Sports after this breather. sports, the 2022 Hangzhou Asian Games. The Malaysian contingent bagged 2 bronze medals on Tuesday, taking the tally to 23. The medals came from the diving and athletics events. In the diving event, veteran Datuk Pandalila Rinong ended the country's 13-year medal drought in the women's 10-meter individual platform, securing a bronze medal. The 30-year-old Sarawakian overcame a stumble in her third dive, amassing 280.50 points from 5 attempts, a 1.2 difference over 4th place Arai Matsuri of Japan for her 5th career medal. Reigning Olympic champion Quan Hongchan of China secured the gold medal, while compatriot Chen Yuxi won silver. Another bronze medal came from the women's 4x100-meter quartet. Shireen Samson Valaboy, Azrin Nabila Alias, Nur Afrina Batrisha and Zaidatul Husnia Zulkifli finished 4th with a time of 45.01 seconds, but were awarded the bronze after Bahrain was disqualified for lane infringement. The national men's 4x100-meter quartet, however, rounded off their campaign on a low note. Khairul Hafiz Jantan, Arshad Sa'at, Jonathan Nyepa and Azim Fahmi clocked 39.19 seconds to finish 5th, but they were disqualified for lane infringement. Turning to football, the AFC Champions League. Cristiano Ronaldo was on target as Al Naser came from a goal down to beat Tajikistan's Istiklal 3-1 in their Group E clash. Senin Sabay scored on the break to put Istiklal in front with a minute left in the first half. The visitors defended their slimmest lead well until 6 minutes after the hour mark when Ronaldo leveled the score. Anderson Talisca then doubled the advantage for the Saudi outfit in the 72nd minute, heading home Ayman Ahmed's assist before he put the result beyond doubt 13 minutes from time with a fine curling effort. The victory was Al Nassr's 2nd in a row in the group stage of the competition and moves Luis Castro's side 3 points clear at the top of the group. When we return, 5 men acquitted, discharged in Naveen murder case. Stay tuned. Welcome back. 5 men accused of murdering T. Naveen were acquitted and discharged by the Pula Pinang High Court without their defense being called. The verdict came more than 6 years after they were first charged with the offense back in June 2017. The 5 were brothers S. Gopinath, 32, and S. Gokulan, 24, as well as J. Ragasuthan, 24, and 2 other unnamed persons who were juveniles when the offense took place. High Court Judge Radzi Hamid said the prosecution had failed to prove a prima facie case against the 5. He ruled that the prosecution could not determine for sure that Naveen had indeed died as a result of blunt force trauma to the head, as stated in the post-mortem report. The trial began in May 2021, where a total of 16 prosecution witnesses were called to testify. Teachers are among the top victims who fall for scammers in Johor. State Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat said that in Johor, 117 cases of teachers getting scammed have been reported as of September this year. This involves losses of more than 4.24 million ringgit. He said that scammers usually do not target a certain group of people as they pick their potential victims at random. From investigations, most of the cases happen through the mobile phone, either via calls or messaging. For this reason, police are prioritizing on education to inform the public, especially teachers, of the risks, prevention and ways of identifying scam calls. Nightline draws to a close this time around, but before we leave, let's take a look as people across China celebrate the 8-day Mid-Autumn Festival and National Day holiday, immersing themselves in a slew of fun-filled cultural activities. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.